This video is sponsored by Sakura-ko and Tokyo Treat. Welcome to part 2 of the history of voiceover. In part 1, which you can watch by clicking the little doodad over there, I went all the way from the first recorded sounds in the 1850s to the first professional voice actors to the petty actress tea and $5 million lawsuit that was Betty Boop. Today, we're finally getting to the first ever feature-length animated films, the biggest voiceover legends of all time, and a little thing called anime. Speaking of anime in Japan, let's throw it over to Sponsored Brizzy. What's up? It's Sponsored Brizzy, and today's Sponsored Brizzy is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura-ko, which means it's snack time, baby! Tokyo Treat and Sakura-ko are both Japanese snack subscription boxes. With Tokyo Treat, you get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition, and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks. June's box is Snack in Shibuya, packed with snacks from all around downtown Tokyo. Like, I was clearly obsessed with these scone quattro cheese snacks. Oh my god, what? This is like if you took a really, really fancy, expensive cheese plate and made Cheetos out of that. You know, what? With Sakura-ko, you get 20 traditional and authentic artisan Japanese snack items, including Japanese teas and one special Japanese tableware with your box every month. Sakura-ko helps in partnering with local Japanese snack makers to continue to share Japanese culture and traditions that have been passed down for over 100 years. June's box is Taste of Hokkaido, which is home to many wide-open plains perfect for pastures and crops, resulting in incredible sweets like this Azuki Dorayaki. Oh my god. Red bean paste! Ah! That's the stuff. That's the stuff. Tokyo Treat and Sakura-ko's mission is to share Japanese culture to the world through snacking. If you want to enjoy pop Japanese snacks, you can choose Tokyo Treat. But if you want traditional Japanese snacks, you can enjoy Sakura-ko instead. If you're at all worried about not understanding the treats, each box comes with a 24-page booklet explaining every snack and adding a lot of wonderful information on Japanese culture so you can learn while you munch. Click the links in the description and use code BRIZZY for $5 off your first Sakura-ko or Tokyo Treat box. Thanks so much for supporting brands that support the channel. Now back to the history of voiceover. Last time we talked about Mae Questel, an absolute icon of animation history who worked in showbiz for decades. But another voice actress who changed the game of animation forever who was not so lucky was Adriana Caselotti, the voice of Snow White, the first American animated feature film of all time in 1937.
My father was a singing teacher here in Los Angeles, and one day one of the Walt Disney representatives called his studio and asked if he knew of a little girl who could sing and speak like a child. And I was listening in on the extension phone upstairs, and I said, "Papa, how about me?"
Every interview I can find of this woman shows her to be the sweetest little gem who loved being Snow White with her entire heart and somehow didn't hold any bitterness for what happened. In these early years of animation, voice actors were rarely given any recognition or respect. You were rarely even credited for your performances. Like, tracking down which Betty Boop actresses voiced her in which episode was unbelievably difficult, and some of my info was probably wrong because the records are just that sketchy. Adriana wasn't even invited to the premiere of the film, which ended up bankrolling Disney and allowing them to buy 51 acres of land in Burbank, on which they still produce films to this day. However, she and Harry Stockwell, the voice of Prince Charming, did sneak into the premiere when the ticket taker wasn't looking. Caselotti told Animator magazine, "The girl at the door said, 'May I have your tickets?' And I said, 'I'm Snow White and this is Prince Charming.' To which she replied, 'I don't care if you're the witch, you're not going in without tickets.' So we waited until she wasn't looking and sneaked in. She ran after us, but we got up to the balcony, way over on one side, and she couldn't find us." Hell yeah. Disney also helped assure Caselotti didn't have a career after Snow White. She said, "Walt Disney thought it would spoil the illusion if you knew who the people were who provided the voices in the film." In fact, Disney was so adamant about preserving the illusion that he refused to let her sing Snow White songs on the Jack Benny Show, at the time the most popular radio show in America. That's like Lin-Manuel Miranda saying, "Hell no, Ali, you can't sing How Far I'll Go on the Oscars." He made it difficult for her to appear in any other film, effectively blacklisting her from acting. Other than just a few tiny uncredited roles,
"Wherefore art thou, Romeo?"
she never made another film for Disney or anyone else.
We'll clean the house and surprise them.
And she loved Snow White so much. She was so sweet. Even into the 90s, her house was full of memorabilia. She remembered all of her lines.
This is Snow White speaking. Please don't run away. I won't hurt you. I'm awfully sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you, but you don't know what I've been through.
Her home voicemail message was even her as Snow White.
This is Snow White speaking. At the sound of the beep, please leave your name and phone number and a short message, and I will get back to you shortly. Goodbye, Rosie. Supper!
And a little thing that's cute in theory, but pretty sad when you think about it, is Snow White has a star on Hollywood Boulevard, but Adriana Caselotti does not.
And of course, here's one little thing that one of my friends just did. We do have a Snow White star on Hollywood Boulevard, but it doesn't say Adriana Caselotti. But there is a Snow White star on Hollywood Boulevard.
The practice of not crediting voice actors or generally giving them any form of respect or recognition changed after a young rising star of radio and vaudeville moved to Los Angeles in 1935. He tried to get a voice audition for Warner Brothers but was rejected. This young actor's name was Mel Blanc. Maybe you've heard of him.
I said, I'd like to audition for you and show you what I can do. He says, I'm sorry, we've got all the voices we need. Well, I was as stubborn as he was, and I went back in 2 weeks, and I said, look, won't you just listen to me? He says, I told you we have all the voices we need. So I was still as stubborn as him, and I went to him every 2 weeks asking him to please listen to me. And he says, I told you 100 times I've got all the voices we need.
Blanc's persistence eventually paid off when the guy denying him died. Treg Brown was now in charge, and Blanc was given a chance. His auditions for the studio were even used in some earlier WB cartoons before he was officially given a job. But Tex Avery gave Blanc his first official shot at a role in the 1937 short Picador Porky.
La cucaracha, play it on the old guitar. La cucaracha, play it in the shore. La cucaracha, yippee, play it on the old guitar. La cucaracha, play it wherever you happen to be.
By 1940, he was becoming well known in the industry, with star Looney Tunes characters like Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, and eventually, Bugs Bunny.
Well, they told me that Bugs was a tough little stinker, and I thought, what kind of a voice can I give him? The tough character, maybe Brooklyn or the Bronx.
So I put the two of them together, Doc, and that's how Bugs Bunny came out.
He was dubbed the Man of 1,000 Voices, going on to voice some of the most iconic characters of the last century. Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Sylvester the Cat, Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam, Pepe Le Pew, Foghorn Leghorn, Tasmanian Devil, Tweety Bird, Marvin the Martian, Speedy Gonzales, Wile E. Coyote, and those are just the Looney Tunes. He also gave Woody Woodpecker life in 1940, Barty Rubble in 1960, and countless more. His characters became such superstars that Mel Blanc actually started getting credited in the titles. I know, wild, right? And the honor followed for more and more voice actors going forward. Blanc worked in voiceover right up until his death in 1989 at the age of 81. His gravestone, as requested in his will, says, "That's all, folks." Another icon to enter Looney Tunes by way of radio was June Foray. Born in 1917, Foray started her career on radio at just 12 years old, and by 20, she was hosting and writing her very own radio show, Lady Make-Believe. Like Mel, she continued to star in radio shows for decades. Her first animated roles came in 1943 when she played Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in Swing Symphony's short, The Eggcracker Suite.
Come on, girls, it's time to go to work.
And the sleepwalking wife bear in the Merry Melody short, The Unbearable Bear.
I'll show 'em who's boss in this house. The big lummox, that's the thanks I get for slaving over a hot stove all day.
In 1946, she voiced over this actual frickin' monkey in The Lonesome Stranger.
Oh, dirty Dawson's aiming to throw me out if I don't pay the mortgage.
Poor monkeys! In 1950, she played Lucifer the Cat in Disney's 1950 film, Cinderella. And by 1952, she was voicing Witch Hazel for the Disney short Trick or Treat.
Neck of bottle, tail of coat, whiskers from the billy goat.
Impressed by this performance as Witch Hazel, Chuck Jones invited her to Warner Brothers cartoons in 1954.
Everybody said that I was the female Mel Blanc, but Chuck always said that Mel was the male June Foray, which is very flattering, but not really true. Maybe we were equal in the characters that we did.
For Warner Brothers, she was Granny, Little Red Riding Hood, Penelope Pussycat, and several witches, including Looney Tunes' own Witch Hazel. Like most of Warner Brothers' voice actors at the time, with the exception of Mel Blanc, Foray was not credited for her roles in these cartoons. In 1959, she began voicing the iconic Rocky J. Squirrel, Natasha Fatale, and literally every female character on Rocky and His Friends, commonly known as Rocky and Bullwinkle. She became the voice of the first commercially successful talking doll in 1960 with Chatty Cathy.
Please brush my hair.
Though not quite as viscerally disturbing as Edison's talking dolls, people still got pretty creeped by Chatty Cathy, so thanks to this job, she got the call in 1963 to bring nightmare fuel back to the world of dolls by voicing Talkie Tina in the Twilight Zone episode Living Doll.
My name is Talkie Tina. And you'd better be nice to me.
Foray's voiceover career spanned over 75 years, the longest VO career I've ever heard of, and in 2012, at the age of 94, Foray became the oldest entertainer to ever be nominated for and to win an Emmy Award for her role as Mrs. Cauldron in The Garfield Show.
Oh, hello. I'm Mrs. Cauldron, your friendly neighborhood old lady who might be a witch.
We lost her in 2017 at the age of 99. You may notice the majority of this series is focused on American voiceover because I'm American, and this is already clearly a lot. But there is a genre of animation that I know a lot of Americans have a great interest in, and that employs a lot of American voice actors. So it would be pretty silly to look over a little phenomenon known as anime. Now, foreign language dubs became a common practice in the 1930s for a population that wasn't fond of reading their movies anymore, and for political leaders to censor content by altering dialogue. Blah, 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 politics, World War II, blah, 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 let's talk about anime. The 1930s saw the rise of anime with synchronized sound, including voice. At the time, like in Western animation, voices were often pulled from available staff rather than hiring outside actors, such as in the 1939 Benkei Tai Ushiwaka, where the animator Kenzo Masaoka cast himself as Benkei. And his wife Ayako Masaoka as Ushiwaka. One of the most globally influential anime series was Tetsuwan Atomo, or Astro Boy, released by Fuji TV in 1963 as Japan's first ever weekly animated TV series. The titular character was voiced by Mari Shimizu. The English dub was released in the US later that same year, Astro Boy being given to the actress Billy Lou Watt.
How can you say that? You've always told me that you love me as though I were your very own flesh and blood.
The show was a huge hit and broadcast in more than 50 countries, establishing the aesthetic of what we now call anime. Anime became mainstream in Japan in the 1980s, thanks to shows like Gundam, Macross, and Dragon Ball, and the international success of the film Akira, and the genre has only continued to explode globally since. English and other language dubs of the anime are a huge part of that, despite the classic war of subs versus dubs. If you're unaware, a never-ending debate in the world of foreign media, but especially anime, is which is better? Original language audio with translated subtitles, subs, or your own native language translated and dubbed audio, dubs. There are fair arguments for both sides, of course, and ultimately it comes down to personal preference. To try to argue that one country's voice actors are objectively better as a whole is clearly preposterous, but everyone is welcome to having acting style preferences and media consumption style preferences, so let's just be grateful that for so many wonderful shows and films, we get both. It wasn't as easy in the 20th century when many anime series were inaccessible outside of Japan unless they were illegally obtained, translated, and distributed by fans. The most popular of anime did get an English dub distribution on American TV, introducing a new generation of kids to anime by way of Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, or Naruto. The original Japanese with subs was harder to come by, but today, we've got the internet, baby! And so many streaming services with so much anime, providing you the option of English dubs or Japanese with subs with just the click of a button. There's never been a better time to be a weeb. Once upon a time, the US voiceover industry would scoff a bit at voice actors who dubbed anime. It was considered by some to be the lowest tier of voiceover. But today, thousands of people start careers in voiceover purely with the goal of dubbing anime. Conventions especially have changed the game forever. It is aspirational, a dream, and voice actors, Japanese and English and otherwise, are celebrated. Though still, as a whole, woefully underpaid. Now, as far as non-white voice actors in America in the early 20th century, I had to do some amount of digging. If you count singers, jazz musician Cab Calloway's performances were rotoscoped, and his songs performed by characters on Fleischer's Talk Cartoons, starting in 1932 with Minnie the Moocher, a Betty Boop short. Lillian Randolph started her acting career in the 30s on radio dramas and comedies. Her big break was in 1941 as maid Bertie Lee Coggins on The Great Gildersleeve radio show and later films. But in 1940, Randolph voiced the first appearance of Mammy Two Shoes in MGM's Tom and Jerry cartoon Puss Gets the Boot, back when Tom was named Jasper.
And when I says out, Jasper, I means out. O-U-W-T, out.
Mammy Two Shoes is never referred to by name in the show, but represents the popular black caricature of the Mammy, and presented several other black stereotypes in her 19 cartoons from 1940 to 1952, when she was discontinued as a character due to protests from the NAACP. In every episode, she was originally voiced by Lillian Randolph, before some were redubbed by the very white June Foray in the 60s with an Irish accent.
Any more bragging and that cat's going out of here of all my volunteers.
And in the 90s with Thea Vidal, a black actress using less stereotypical language.
And when I say out, Jasper, I mean out. O-U-T, out.
1941 saw the release of notorious Walter Lantz short Scrub Me Mama with a Boogie Beat, where most of the darker-skinned and lazy characters of Lazy Town seem to have been portrayed by Mel Blanc, including these two.
What do you all mean, Rilla? She rubs the knuckles right on down to the nub, yeah.
But the sophisticated, light-skinned woman from Harlem who inspired the town to wake up with swing music and, I don't know, being hot, was played by black R&B and jazz musician Nellie Lutcher. Or maybe it was actually Ivy Anderson. No one was officially credited, and different sources claim different things, so I don't know. I think it sounds a bit more like Anderson, but it's really hard to say for sure. Wow, I wish voice actors were credited from the start. After the NAACP requested Universal remove the film, Universal short sales distribution chief and absolute trash cheer human E.L. McAvoy warned that N-words, except he didn't say N-words, would be prevented from getting much work in the industry if the NAACP insisted on the film's removal, because, you know, why would you ever hire a black person for anything not racist? Later that year, Disney's Dumbo hit theaters in October 1941, with the Crows played by the all-black Hall Johnson Choir, James Baskett, Nick Stewart, Jim Carmichael, and Hall Johnson. The lead Crow, however, Jim Crow, later renamed Dandy Crow, was played by famous white actor Cliff Edwards.
What's the good news? What's frying, boy?
Unfortunately, I could go on and on about the vast majority of the first black voiceover roles in America only existing in mildly questionable to way over-the-top depictions of racial stereotypes, but I think you get the picture. Thankfully, we've made great strides since then. While we still have a ways to go, the people working behind the scenes in writing, producing, directing, casting, etc. genre is becoming more diverse, and with that comes more nuanced stories about people of color, people of differing sexualities or gender identities or disabilities, who are being cast more authentically every year, resulting in better, deeper stories. After all this time, we finally solidly arrived to the second half of the 20th century. I promise not to jump back to the 30s again. So let me finally point out that, of course, radio commercials have been running since the 1920s, but television commercials started in the 40s and really picked up in the 50s when households started getting their hands on personal TV sets. They often featured a classic announcer-style narration, such as this lovely 1949 ad.
Doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
By contrast, today the commercial VO trend is very conversational, like you're talking to your best friend.
Remix your conditioner with Pantene Boosters and mix it up whenever you condition.
Voiceover and advertising continues on radio, TV, online video, and of course, movie trailers. Though it's no longer in vogue for movie trailers of today, we are all familiar with that iconic movie trailer voice.
In a world where the sun burns cold. In a world of imagination.
In a world without gas.
In a world fraught with corruption. In a world. In a world. In a world. In a world. In a world.
This is the voice of Don LaFontaine. LaFontaine once owned a trailer production company, but when the announcer for the trailer of 1964's Gunfighters of Casa Grande didn't show, LaFontaine filled in. Before long, LaFontaine was so busy with trailer voiceover jobs and just drowning in so much cash that he could no longer produce movie trailers. Sad. And his iconic voice of God style delivery defined a style of trailers for a generation, if not more. And though announcer trailer narrations are rare now, the style is still so iconic that to this day, we gobble up parodies of it like honest trailers narrated by John Bailey.
From fiction's most notorious serial killer comes the TV adaptation of the medieval encyclopedia / Dungeon Master's Guide / porno. That is Game of Thrones. Dun 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 dun. God, that song's cool.
And that's part 2 of the history of voiceover. I know I didn't tell you who has the record for longest consecutive voiceover role, but I'm rearranging things, okay? I'm keeping you on your toes. But I'll tell you next time in the finale of this series, where I'm gonna break down the history of video game voiceover, 24/7 cartoons, the celebrity invasion, and what the current environment is for today's voice actor. What challenges and boons are we facing today? And what's on the horizon? Find out next time. Hopefully next week or the one after that or something. I don't know. Double check that you're subscribed and that you've hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications, because that's the only way to make sure you don't miss it. But hey, if it's already up, you can click it right there or in the description. Lucky you from the future. I mean, I guess everyone watching this is someone from the future. I'm not going to think about that too hard. Thank you for watching. Your support on this series means a whole lot. I put so much work into it, so please hit that thumbs up button, because part 2 videos always suffer, and if this does well, it'll encourage me to keep this thing going. So, see you next time with a brand new video.